Hello everyone and welcome back to another TBR video. So these are the books that I'm going to be reading in July. For each of these books I'm going to be telling you why I want to read this book, what I already know about this book, and I'm going to predict how many stars I will give it. Now we're going to see if I get through as many books as I planned because I didn't quite do that last time, but I was only like 1.5 books short, so I feel pretty good about it. So this time I'm reading one book that I am continuing over from June. I'm going to be reading 2 books that are sequels in a series that I love, and I'm going to be reading 3 totally random books that I picked out that I just picked for absolutely no reason, and they're not normally things I would ever pick. So let's get started. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to read in June is I'm going to finish reading this one, The Diviners by Libba Bray, and I was supposed to read it and the sequel in June, but I didn't. So I am this far, so I'm pretty good ways into it for sure, but it's pretty chunky as you can see. I'm loving it. It's definitely going to be a 5-star book unless it just goes really downhill after where it's at right now, but basically it's about a girl. I mean, it's really a lot of different characters, honestly, but it's mostly about a girl who lives in the 1920s, right before the Great Depression, and she's just been sent to live in New York City. She came from Ohio, and her family's kind of fed up with her, but one of the reasons they're fed up with her is because not only does she, drink and kind of carry on, but she also, and she's like a teenager, by the way, and they can't control her, but the problem is she also has sort of a mysterious power, and her power is that she can lay her hands on an object and then find out about the person who owns the object and kind of see what's going on with them and learn their secrets. And she uses it as like a party trick, and she gets in trouble with it because she reveals something about someone in their town that everybody kind of respects. And so her parents send her off to live with her kind of creepy uncle in New York City. He works for a museum. He owns this museum that's like this weird superstitious, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like occult stuff. And she goes to live there, but she's just excited to be kind of in the middle of all the hubbub, and she can't wait. She does not think that this is a punishment. She thinks that this is like the best thing that's ever happened to her. So there's some other characters as well, and they all also have some interesting powers, and they are known as the Diviners. They don't really know it yet, where I'm at in this book right now anyway, but there is sort of a serial killer on the loose, but it's like he's sort of like this biblical killer thing that he keeps quoting the book of Revelations, but then the quotes are like kind of off because it's not really from the Bible. It's like from this other like fake religion that somebody had tried to make up in the past. And anyway, but he's definitely some sort of evil force that's not it's not natural. It's definitely supernatural because at the beginning it's not a spoiler because it happens right away, but they awake this evil by using a Ouija board that he's somehow connected to at a party, like just these random people. And now he's back and he is killing people in a really interesting way, and they have to figure out who's he gonna kill next and maybe try to stop it from happening. And the main character kind of gets involved because her uncle, being part of this occult museum, they think that he might know some information because they found weird symbols at the crime, so they consult him, and she kind of tags along for the ride. And so far it is so well written. I love it. It's so fast paced. When I say fast paced, I mean there's not a description in this thing. I mean it's just this that dialogue constantly. So I love it so far. It's wonderful. I'm so glad I started reading this. I read it because other booktubers liked it, and I know it's a series. I think there's 4 of them in it, and I will definitely be reading all of them. So I want to finish this one here really soon, though. Okay, so the next book I'm going to read in July is a book in the Dresden Files series. I talk a lot about the series, so I won't say too much more about it because I talk about it all the time, but this is book 15. It's called Skin Game. It's the latest book. I say latest, but it was like 4 years ago. But I'm preparing for book 16, which is being released in July here in just a couple weeks. I believe it's the 14th or 16th, and it is going to be amazing, and I'm so excited. It's called Peace Talks, so of course I'm going to be reading that book as well. And this book, I can't really do the whole what's it about. Oh, I didn't do that on the other one, did I? Well, that's because I've already been reading it, but anyway. Okay, so that's why I want to read this, just because I want to continue on with the series, basically. And what I already know about it, I've already read this book before, twice, I believe it is, so I know everything about it, and I've kind of forgotten, I'm sure, some of the minor details. I can't say much about the series, but once again, I highly recommend it. It has the best action scenes. That's what I was thinking the other day, the best action scenes of any book I've ever read. It's really hard to write an action scene and keep it fast-paced, but this one is so fast-paced that you just read it and you just fly right through it. So I highly recommend this for anybody that likes fantasy, but it's called like an urban fantasy because it's set in the real world. It's not like high fantasy like Game of Thrones where it's in a made-up universe or something, but it's set in Chicago, and the main character is a private detective who's also a wizard. But at this point, it's so much more than that, and the story is more continued from book to book. It's not just like a monster of the week like it was in the beginning. So you do have to kind of get through the first so many books. I started really loving it at book 4, but some people it's more or less. So anyway, I'm making my husband read this too, and he is on book 7, so I'm pretty excited because especially, oh man, book 12. Once he gets to book 12, everything changes. The book's actually called Changes. Anyway, so I will probably be giving this one 5 stars. Who would have thought? And I'm definitely also going to be reading the sequel that is coming out this month called Peace Talks. And it's going to be amazing. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it, but I know that I am probably going to give it 5 stars because I do that with most of the Dresden Files. So we're just going to move on. Okay, the other 3 books that I picked out are just totally weird, random, young adult, and even like a middle grade kind of book. So this one is a book that I would never pick up to read myself. It's called Field Notes on Love. It is really tiny compared to most of these, so that's exciting. And it's from our school library. We actually have like 3 copies of this thing. I keep getting sent it for different boxes and stuff of books, and I guess it's pretty popular. But it also was a winner of the KBA Award, which is like the Kentucky Bluegrass Award winning books, and that means it's pretty good. There's like only 10 books on that list every year, and this is one of them. It's a romance, which is not something that I would normally pick up, but I thought maybe I need to branch out and try something different. I never read romance, but if this one is so good, maybe I'll try it. Now, as far as what I know about this book, I know absolutely nothing, and so I thought we could read the back together because I just picked this out like 10 minutes ago because I was like, I need to read a romance or something different. So I don't know what it's about, but let's find out. It says it's the perfect idea for a romantic week together, traveling across America by train. Oh yeah, it's something about these 2 people meet on a train or something. But then Hugo's girlfriend dumps him. Her parting gift, the tickets for their long-planned last hurrah before their university trip. Only it's been booked under her name, non-transferable, no exceptions. May is still reeling at being rejected from USC's film school. When she stumbles across Hugo's ad for a replacement, Margaret Campbell, her full name, she's certain, oh, so it's like the same girl's name, that's crazy. She's certain it's just the adventure she needs to shake off her disappointment and jumpstart her next film. A cross-country train ride with a complete stranger might not seem like the best idea. But to May and Hugo, both eager to escape their regular lives, it makes perfect sense. What starts out as a convenient arrangement soon turns into something more. But when life outside the train catches up to them, can they find a way to keep their feelings for each other from getting derailed? I mean, I'd read it for the pun, derailed, that's great. So we'll see if I enjoy this at all, but as far as stars-wise goes, I mean, it's a romance, doesn't sound great, but it is a KB Award winner, so I'm guessing the writing's pretty good. We'll give it a 3.5. Let's be kind of adventurous and say 3.5. The next book I want to read is another book that I kind of picked out at random from my bookshelf at home. I've had this book for a while. It's kind of in bad shape even, but it's called The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. And this book is a middle grade book, even though it's really big, which is kind of shocking to me because what middle schooler reads however many, let's see how many pages this book is. Almost 500, 400 and some books. So almost 500 pages for a middle schooler. That's pretty intense. So I picked out this book because it sounds kind of like fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, but also has like a dark evil school kind of thing. It sounds a little bit like a combination of like a Roald Dahl book meets Charles Dickens from the sounds of it, like the writing style, because it's like kind of bleak, but then also kind of funny. And apparently it's pretty similar to the Lemony Snicket books. And I did used to like those, although I kind of came into those late. If I had probably started those when I was younger, I probably would have liked them better. But this might be the same case. Maybe if I had read this as a kid, I probably would have liked it a lot better. But all I know about it so far is that 4 kids have to come together, and each one of them has some sort of like superpower of some kind or like magical ability. And the 4 of them are kind of chosen to defeat some evil that, like this evil headmaster or something at a scary dark school. And it sounds really cool. It says it's like peculiar. They go on a secret mission. And the reader kind of gets to like help them and go along with them or something. And it's about friendship. And I don't know. I thought it sounded really cool. And I think the Mysterious Benedict Society is what they come to call themselves, like the 4 of them together to fight this like evil school and the evil headmaster. And I just thought it sounded really neat. So I'm going to try it. I know it's got pictures throughout as well. So we'll see if it's any good. I think the plot sounds cool. So as far as the stars go, I don't know about the writing style, but I'm going to say I'll give it a 4. I'm hoping that that is accurate, so I don't know. We'll see. Let's find out. And the last book that I want to read is a book that I also just kind of picked out from the library, but I've heard a lot of booktubers talking about it, and it's called Slay by Brittany Morris. So this is a pretty new book. It's pretty recent, and I want to read it because it just sounds really interesting to me because it's about video games, and it's a kind of a modern book, which I don't read too many contemporary books, but I think it sounds really neat because it's not really quite fantasy or sci-fi or anything, so it'd be something a little bit different for me. What I know about the book so far is I know it's about a girl who invents a video game called Slay is the name of the game, but no one knows that she's the one that invented it. Like, I don't think even her friends know. And it's not like a super popular game, but it is for like usually like Black teens, or maybe it's not just teens, but they're it starts unfortunately going downhill because something happens and like a teen is murdered somewhere and the word slay is involved apparently. And so people start thinking that the creators of this game and the people who play it are actually racist against white people. And it really kind of turns her world upside down because, she starts to get kind of some notoriety because they think that she is, it says she's potentially being sued for anti-white discrimination. And there's an anonymous troll who infiltrates the game, threatening to harass all the players and take over. And she's trying to basically preserve her secret identity as the person that founded the game, but also it says, harness what it means to be unapologetically Black in a world intimidated by Blackness. But can she protect her game without losing herself in the process? So I don't know. It's really interesting. It's like about herself, but then also about video games, and I love games. So we're going to hope that this one's pretty good. I don't think it's won any awards yet, but it hasn't really had much time to. So as far as stars go, I think I will probably give it a 3.5. I'm being pretty optimistic about most of these, so we're going to hope for the best, and I will let you know at the end of the month if this one goes as planned, and hopefully I'll get to it because it is pretty short and probably pretty fast to read. Finally, I am going to continue on with the Game of Thrones audiobooks. Last month, I did finish reading A Clash of Kings, the second in the series, and this month I'm going to start reading A Storm of Swords. I'm going to listen to it on audiobook, just kind of like when I'm getting ready and stuff in the mornings and at night. It's a great time for me to listen to it, or in the car or something like that. And this one's really long. Like, the actual book is over 1,100 pages. So it is many, many hours of audiobook, and I'm just hoping that I can get through it in 1 month. I don't even know if I can. It might take me a couple months to listen to all this. I might only listen to like an hour a day, and I think it is like 60 hours or something insane. So we'll see if I can get through this one. I've already read this book before as well, so of course I know what it's about. And if you don't know much about Game of Thrones, you should probably just go, watch the show or read the books because they are amazing. And as far as stars goes, I know that I loved this book. I thought 1 and 3 were definitely the best, so I will probably give it like 4.5 stars. I wouldn't give it 5 just because sometimes it does drag on a little bit and can be not really boring, but just slow moving, I should say. So it is 1,100 pages. I mean, what do you expect? So those are all the books that I plan on reading in July. Will I completely fail my goal of reading them like I did last month because I was like almost 2 books short? I don't know. Let's find out. Anyway, wish me luck with that, and I will talk to you guys later. So have a nice day.